Alright friends, welcome to the Monday Mine, and today we are on our survival island seed. I needed to do some mining on the seed anyway, so I figured why not just combine the two episodes? We can go mining, we can do the Monday Mine, and I can gather some resources. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to start this off by just kind of cleaning up some inventory real quick, so we'll do a quick transition here and be right back. Alright friends, it is a fresh new day on the island and we're going to do some mining. So, if you're new around here, you're not sure what the Monday Mine is. The Monday Mine is where we just spend a little bit of time talking about something positive in life or giving some positive advice about something in life. And we usually do this while we're doing some mining, and I thought it'd be good to just kind of get back into the island and not lose our momentum since we had such a fantastic episode in the last one. And I say that kind of giggling because I was frustrated, and that definitely came across in the video. And you know what? That's part of survival games. If they were just super easy, then they would lose their appeal. But part of what makes a good survival game is that surviving is difficult. Like, it's hard, you have to work at it, you know, and that's exactly what happened in that last episode. I think what we're gonna do is kind of split this into two things. I'm gonna spend 10 minutes mining down at diamond level, and then we'll spend 10 minutes mining up at that level for some iron, and we'll just kind of see what we get, and we'll talk about our message for the day. So let's get downstairs. All right, friends. Today we're going to be talking about something that affects all of us at some point in our lives. Maybe even multiple points again and again throughout our entire life. What we're going to be talking about today is burnout. Burnout is one of those things that it just is not a question of if, it's a when. When in life are you going to experience burnout? And are there some signs that we can see that it's coming so we can react and maybe mitigate some of the amount of burnout that we have happen to us? Let's talk for a second about, well, what is burnout? Essentially, what burnout is when we devote too much of our energy to one thing, and so it causes us to fall into a somewhat depressed state. So some people just use the word burnt out as the way to describe how they're feeling. I feel burnt out. But when we look at the symptoms of what that usually correlates to, it means that they don't feel like doing the things that they once did. They don't feel like getting out of bed. They feel like they don't have the energy to really contribute toward their day to make it productive and have value the way they wish they could. Really what they're describing is depression. And so ultimately what burnout is, it's where we give too much of our emotional energy, our physical energy, our creative energy, or our mental energy to one thing at such an extreme level for too long that it puts us into a state of depression. The good news is usually this type of depression is very mild, and it's not something that requires any kind of medication or therapy. It really just requires a shift in our attitude and our energy being contributed to a particular thing. Let's kind of look at those four things. So it could come about, burnout can kind of come about because we're giving too much emotional energy. This can happen a lot of times in something like a relationship. When we first get into a brand new relationship, there's this thing called new relationship energy. And you get very excited, you get very committed, you give all your time, you give all your emotion, you give all your thoughts into this particular relationship, and it begins to become all-consuming. And so we run at a really high level in that initial time of our new relationship starting. And this doesn't have to just be a romantic relationship, this can be a friendship, it can be anything. But if we dump a bunch of emotional energy for too long into one particular relationship, we run the risk of having burnout. That doesn't mean that we can't be energetic about a relationship. We can't offer ourselves emotionally to a relationship. It's just there's a danger when you're giving 100% of the time. There's going to be, at some point, some fallout from that. It could be physical energy that actually causes the burnout, though. You can think about things like a job. Maybe you have a particular financial want. There's something you really want to buy. And so you're working all the overtime you can get. You're working 12-hour shifts. You're working 7 days a week. I actually did this. I remember when I was in my early 20s, I was working in this print factory. It was a fascinating job. We used to make these huge, gigantic billboard prints and things and calendars and all kinds of stuff. And I was, a new father and just starting with my family and stuff like that. And I was working a ton, like all I possibly could. And in the beginning, I remember loving it, getting these huge, gigantic checks and like all this money. And it was so great. But a few months in, I realized this is not sustainable. Like, I'm not seeing anybody. I'm not talking to anybody. I get home, I go to sleep, I go back to work. And so too much of our physical energy being given to a particular thing could kind of cause us to have burnout. Well, actually, it will inevitably cause us to have burnout. Giving too much creative energy to something at too high of a level for too long will also cause this. You hear this from YouTubers all the time. Guys, I'm burnt out. Guys, I have to take a break. Guys, I'm not going to be uploading videos. I think even I have said something slightly like that in the past. I try really, really hard to keep a good balance in my life so I don't experience any major burnout. But yeah, creative energy can burn you out really fast. I'm a musician. I've talked about this many times. I've been in bands, and I've had these times in my life where I was like sold for the band, man. Everything was practicing songs, doing performances, booking gigs, actually performing. Like all of my life was kind of wrapped up in this while I still have to like do a job and eat and sleep and all these things. And again, I definitely did experience the band burnout time because you can only run, no matter how awesome the thing is, no matter how enjoyable it is, you can only run at 100% at 100% of the time for so long before you will be burnt out. The last thing is mental energy. Mental energy is another thing we have to be careful about how much time we're devoting to. I think about things like a test or schoolwork or hitting the books, as people say. And so there's a danger of being so consumed with academics that it also can burn us out. Always striving for that perfect grade, that perfect score, that perfect GPA. Those things, if we're not careful, if it's all consuming, can lead us to burnout. Burnout ultimately is just a depression brought about by an imbalance in our life. Something in our life is getting too much energy, too much of what we have to offer. So how do we actually prevent this? Well, it takes a little effort, but basically what we have to do is track our time. If we want to prevent burnout, we have to be aware of how much energy and time we're devoting into a particular thing. How much of our thoughts, how much of our actual free time is going to that thing. And so when we keep track of these things, we can easily start to see if things get a little out of whack. It's okay to have periods of time where you're going to spend more time on a relationship because it's new or it requires some work. You're going to spend more time at a job because you do have a particular bill or a want. And so you're going to put in some extra hours to get to that thing. Or you have a hobby, and during a particular window, you might want to release a bunch of videos or write a new song or paint a fantastic mural. And so a lot of your energy will go into that. Or you have a big test coming up and you'll study. These are all fine. For short times, this is absolutely fine and acceptable. There's no real danger there. The danger becomes when it goes on for too long. We will get burnt out. There was this great kind of philosophy I ran across a long time ago. I think there was a book about it, but I think I kind of came across it in a random podcast one day. But this lady was talking about how she would write 3 items of something that she had going on in her life. I think it was for her something like reading, sports, and maybe gaming was the other one. But she had these 3 cards, or no. You know what it was? She had multiple cards, but she could only choose 3 a day. That's how she did it. And so she wrote out all the things that she loved to do. And every morning she grabbed 3 cards and said, these are the 3 things I'm doing today. And I do remember her saying one of the things that she always had on there was her job. And so one of the 3 slots instantly eaten up Monday through Friday by work. And so she would put the work card there, and then she would look at the other cards that she had and she would pick 2 more. She said this helped her keep balance and prevent burnout into her life. She didn't use the word burnout. She used something like ineffectiveness or something like that. But ultimately, what that really does is effectively prevent you from being all consumed with one thing, because it makes you very conscious of the fact that you are choosing to spend all of your time on a particular item when you see that one card getting picked over and over and over again. And so that's actually something really, really good. If you really do struggle with burnout, or you're worried that that's something you're headed toward, that 3 cards a day thing can be an effective tool to help you overcome that. So let's conclude by just talking about a few things. One thing is we need to pay attention to our mood. If we notice all of a sudden we're getting short with people, we're getting angry, we're getting frustrated very easily, there's a good chance we're right on the verge of being burnt out. Because again, we're falling into a mild depression. That's what burnout is bringing us to. And so if we start to act differently than we normally do, then we need to look at where our time and energy is going and say, hey, maybe I need to take a break from the intensity level that I'm giving to these particular things. And the other thing is that we need to have better balance in our life in general. And we can do this by injecting something new now and then. This will prevent us from becoming like obsessed with one particular thing. So as you're going throughout your weeks, your months, your year, you should be looking to learn something new, learn a new skill, or experience something new. I've talked about this on the channel before, but something really great that I watched this YouTuber do was she just went out and tried a different type of apple every week. Like, it was this big thing where she went to the grocery store, she found a new type of apple, she paid a lot of attention to what it tasted like, how it's supposed to be prepared, but the whole point of that was just to introduce something new into your life. Every time you're introducing something new into your life, your mind, your thoughts, your energy, it can help kind of keep the other things from getting overwhelming, because that new thing is going to give you an outlet to kind of expel some energy into and maybe prevent something else from overtaking all of you. So guys, I want to conclude just by saying a special thank you for just kind of following along with these types of videos. They're so different than a lot of the YouTube content that's out there, especially the Minecraft content, but this is kind of the home of this channel, and I just really appreciate you giving me some of your time to kind of speak into your life and hopefully encourage you a bit. And so just remember, balance in all things is the key to happiness. Alright friends, hopefully you enjoyed that mining session. It was pretty productive. I mean, we didn't get everything we wanted, but we did get 5 diamonds, but we did get 18 lapis. I needed lapis. Look how much iron we got. And we got some copper. We got a little bit of flint. I think I had that coal on me. I was hoping we'd run across some coal, but we did get some good stuff. But guys, if you enjoy this kind of content, please let me know by leaving me a like on the video. And there's some great new original content coming to the channel in March. I think you guys will be very excited with some of the new things. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a very different direction than what this channel's been going in for a while now. But guys, hopefully you had a good time. I know I did, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode of Mining Positivity. Bye, friends!